to start all of this off with, you're all good actors. Okay. So and since our audience just finished watching, and for anybody who's watching this online, just fast forward the next 5 minutes. We're going to talk about that ending. Lou, when you read that, what went through your mind? How this all gets wrapped up?
Wow. Okay, so first I have to say, yes, I get the script, and literally from like page 1, where Brent is giving notes, I thought, not only do I know this guy, I've lived this. I've been here, you know, through theater school at the University of Texas at Arlington, and everything that I did in the preparation for my acting career. I lived this, and I know this guy, and I know this guy times 6, because I can go through my career and base Brent on so many people that I actually knew. And then when he started killing people for dropping lines, I thought, I fucking love this guy.
Was it like cathartic to play this character then for you?
In a way, yes. I'm directing a lot more television these days, and I promise you. And by the way, all of you young actors out there, or older ones, seriously, man, when I show up on day 1 and a regular cast member who is getting the rate that they're getting for being a regular cast member on a network television, show, if they show up and they don't know their lines, I get really angry.
You give them notes.
No, no, that's the problem. I can't say anything. Because no, I can't say anything because they're the regular and I'm the director in for the week, and now it's up to me to make them look good. But the entire time I'm thinking, motherfucker.
So what I'm hearing is that Brent is your alter ego.
Yes, there was a lot of Brent that I really, really appreciated. You know what I mean? And so, quite honestly, as I'm reading Max's script, as I'm going there throughout the script, and there is so much that's resonating with me, there are 2 things that are going on. Number 1 is, who the fuck is going to buy this movie? I have no clue how this film is going to get out there. I really don't know. It is one of the most unique, most original, most interesting things that I've read in God knows how many years of making movies. And yet I go, but I got to play this role. I really must play this role because I love this. And I will say this now, too. One of the things that really, really struck me about the script, in addition to the fact that Brent gets to choose scenery and have these fucking ridiculous monologues and, just be Brent, as I'm reading the script, I'm going, what's the budget? How can they accomplish this? What are the parameters of this? And believe me, I read a lot of scripts that come to me that go, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And I look at their budget and I go, dude, you can't do that. You will never achieve that. God bless you, but you're not going to get 6 days worth of a fight scene. It's not going to happen, okay? I read at 2 and I went, motherfucker, this guy has figured out a way to do this in a finite amount of time and a finite budget. And that impressed the shit out of me. No, really. And it's like, okay, now I know that this can be the best that it's trying to be. Because so many other independent films, they come at you and they go, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we're going to be freaking Quentin Tarantino. It's like, no, you're not. God love you, but you're not, because you just have no clue about what it takes to actually get this shit made. But his script was so tight and so smart, and it's so dependent on the characters, And for 90% of the movie, it's set in one location. And it's like, yes, he can do it.
And Max, we were talking in the green room earlier and how this came from your own experience in theater. This is very much an inside job.
So obviously now I do a lot more directing than I do acting, but and it's really interesting. So in this movie, in the weird way, I do resonate. I relate more to the actors who are kind of scared of this director who seems like a genius, but also like, why do you have this job if you're so smart? And I think the one thing that I'm really used to, even to this day, is to put a lot of effort into something to try to entertain people, and for it to have varying effects. Sometimes it's really good, sometimes not so much. And that's what this movie's about. It's about a bunch of people basically just trying to put on a good show. And then Brent takes a little too far, probably at a certain point. The only thing I'd add to what Lou says, I really appreciate the kind words he said about the script. It's very kind of him. None of this movie would have been possible without actors who could accomplish the performances you saw without doing it in 1 or 2 takes, sometimes just one, because that was the kind of schedule we were working on. Because he's right. We had, in order to get it done and to get all the beautiful shots that Jacob, our cinematographer, who's sitting right there. Yeah. The only way that was going to happen would be for everyone to know their lines. I mean, that's just like a basic level, right? But then also to be super dialed in. And I think we kind of benefited from the fact that I hope that when you guys read the script, you could, like Lou, go back to your own experiences and kind of pick someone who was an archetype for what you were dealing with. But it was really scary, especially as a first-time director of a feature film, to kind of realize, I mean, we didn't make our first day. You know, these things happen, right? And that was a very scary day because I didn't think we could go faster. So it's like, okay, so if you can't go faster, what do you do? And you kind of just have to, first off, your direction has to get really, you have to be very specific with what you're going to say. And then the other thing that happens is you kind of put it on your actors. You say, look, we're going to be blocking this thing sometimes while we're doing we're going to move, you know, and once we're shooting, and it's funny because the movie's so intense about acting is so important, but like there were times where I felt that way about like, this is huge, you know, this is so important that you get this.
I have to tell a quick little story. Malcolm McDowell's first day. And it literally is the first scene that we're doing, right? And Malcolm comes on, and we rehearse it, right? And we sort of run it and we block it, and it's, you know, him walking and mopping on the stage and the ghost light, which by the way is brilliant.
Like a 7-page scene. It's like a big chonker.
It's like 7 pages, and it's fucking huge. And we block it out and we talk about it, and Malcolm goes, "All right, how are we going to break this up?" And young Max says, "Oh no, we're going to shoot a master." 7 pages. And Malcolm looks at me and he goes, "Oh, he's one of those."
Have you heard this story before, Max?
Yes,
Okay.
I have.
And guess
I've
what?
lived this story.
And guess what? Fucking Malcolm did it. Fucking Malcolm did it.
And that's why you're Lou Diamond Phillips and he's Malcolm McDowell. Yeah.
Well, you have this added, I think what I found so charming and funny about the film is, yes, it's very self-aware, but then you also have this meta of it's a movie within, it's a play within a movie. So out of who went back and had to do their homework and like actually read, you know, Julius Caesar and went back and
It's okay to lie. You guys can just lie about that.
You can just plug your ears, Max. You know.
I went back and I definitely looked at what I needed to look at for Portia. I mean, for me, she was definitely, my stuff was not as big as yours when it came to the actual Shakespeare of it, but it was very important to me to at least understand the work that Margaret would have put into being Portia. So it was more of that like extra layer of doing my work as Margaret as Portia. So it was that kind of extra layer for me.
Yeah, I went back and I looked at Julius Caesar, of course, and read it. I think because my character does so much from it, I was like, I need to kind of know what's going on and like treat this like how my character would treat this. So I went back and read it and like tried to be Brutus as well as try to be Terrence, you know, and yeah, it was fun. It was good to do.
Did it feel like you were actually putting on a play then within, like, as you were shooting? And sorry, Rachel, I want you to chime in.
Yeah, I chose not to go back and read it because I thought Nadine would be too flustered with everything that was going on, that the play was actually last of priorities, which we often see in plays or films where like the creatives, suddenly it's like, I can't even focus on making this thing because I've got X, Y, and Z that have to be done. And I felt like Nadine was in that place of like the mother trying to please everyone and not getting to focus on the thing that they were actually making.
I would like to point out, and I pointed this out at the Los Angeles Film Festival, where we won Best Picture and I won Best Actor. What I want to point out is, much like that story about Malcolm, everybody showed up every single day. I remember Brennan, we had like a huge scene, in his dressing room, and we rehearsed it, and we did a take, and you moved on, and Brennan was like, because that's not, and I joked then that, this guy wants to be fucking Steven fucking Soderbergh, but, if he knew he had it, he moved on. There was no fucking time to gild the lily, And so from day one, everybody in this cast brought their A game because they knew that they were only going to get so many, takes. People talk about it all the time. It's like, oh, I have 5, 6 takes. I'll get it in the 8th or 10th or what. No. I joked at the LA Film Festival, I don't think anybody in this fucking cast got to take 3. And so what I loved about it is that from day one, the bar was set, and it's like, show up, know your fucking shit, and deliver, And everybody in this cast did. And I you know what, Rick? I don't even know the budget. To this day, I do not know the budget of this film. But, our producer right here. But we're streaming now. We've won a number of accolades at film festivals, and it's out there, and we're here tonight because these guys accomplished that, Yeah.
Well, I think as well as an actor, like when you show up on set and you have to, there's already a level of trust that you have to come to set with when you're performing with other actors. But when you are moving at this pace on an indie budget, there's even more trust because you go, well, I've done my work. I know how much work I've put in, and you have to hope that everybody else has done the same thing. And like Lou said, after day one, when you kind of see that everyone's done that, the trust is, you can kind of take a deep breath and go, okay, we've all done the same amount of work and have the same expectations. But it's very much just like one big acting trust exercise because you hope that they're willing to play and react as much as you are so that you get this magic. And I think that's the beauty of indie film and why we love what we do so much.
I think too, we also got really, really lucky, as you've been saying, you guys both been saying, with people who wanted to lean in. Of course, it's a stressful schedule, and we're worried about like
15 days, by the way.
Exactly. Yeah, 15 days. We did all that in 15 days.
Wow.
And yeah. And you're worried if like one of the days are going to go down because of COVID. Like, the spikes are really high during that time. So we're like, okay, we're really stressed. So you can like, in that scenario, you can probably lean back and be like, okay, I'm just going to like not be as present. I don't want to deal with this. No, but everyone actually leaned in more. And that does speak to like how much they believed in the project, in the people that was on board. So we became really tight knit and we leaned in. And I think something really great came out of that. Yeah.
And I will say, actually, The beauty of it is that the COVID kept me in my room studying when I could have been in the bar.
I actually have a question for you guys. It was a lot of lines. Was that annoying during the was that like for like a movie, you know, like for a play, you expect to have to memorize a whole bunch of lines. I mean, some days we do 10, 12 pages. I mean, Lou, you had to do one take of a monologue that was, I think, a page, which is egregious. I'm sorry for that. But
Yeah, no, the story in his dressing room.
Yeah.
The scene with Jacqueline,
cool.
which was 2 takes, by the way.
it's
Oh,
takes.
too.
Yeah. And it was a camera reason for that we needed to, not because of your performance. So you had it on the first one.
Well, I'll jump in with this because at least the way my brain works is I work really well with my short-term memory. So I am really quick at absorbing things. And I think that's just because I started so young in the industry that I've always been good at just kind of going, yep, it's in, great, use it. No idea what I just said. And I've always been like that. And so for me, that was definitely the way my brain was working at the time, was like kind of doing all my work on the character side of things and then knowing that I would absorb the words and then kind of let the characters speak in that moment. Sounds very deep. But also for me, I have that practice because I also produce, and so I do my indie stuff, and we also do short days, as in like short shoots. And so for me, having that practice, I think, was also really helpful of like knowing what kind of pace we needed to move at.
I will say, when I initially read the script, it's one of those things. If it doesn't scare you a little bit, then don't fucking do it. And I read this and I went, "Fuck me." He's asking.
Wait, what scared you?
What scared me
curious.
is that he had written these monologues. He had written these characters that, you know, and you know what? I got to tell you something. It's really interesting. I don't know what it is. I'm taking Prevagen, by the way. At this point in my life, for some bizarre reason, these young directors keep coming at me going, "All right, Lou, I want you to give me a 2-page monologue, and I want you to give it in 1 take."
Action.
Yeah, right? No brag, just fact. I got nominated for an Emmy for a beautiful little thing called Conversations in LA, which was a 30 minutes in 1 take, right? And I look at these things, and he vomited in the middle of it, and I would not break the fucking take. He threw up on the table, and I went in the kitchen and I got paper towels and wiped it up, and I kept giving the lines because I would not let him break the take because it was 2 PM. We've been doing it all goddamn day. This beautiful movie that I just had premiere at Locarno called Keep Quiet. That director, Vince Grayshaw, he's given me again another couple 2-page monologues. And motherfuckers, you all want it in 1 take.
It's because you keep doing it in movies and doing really well, so people keep hiring you to do it again.
Right.
You have
That
to
sucks,
start
doesn't it?
failing at it
I
if you
know,
don't want to
I
do
know,
it again.
I know. But exactly. But my point is, I am so grateful at this point in my life, being a film actor, obviously, but a theater actor, and everything else that goes into this, where I still get roles that challenge me, that frighten me a little bit, that make me go, okay, go back to the fucking basics. At the very least, learn your fucking lines and show up ready to do it. And if the director says, I want to do it in 1 take, okay, I'm good. What you want, bro? What you want? When I show up and do that whole monologue in the bathroom about the whole history of the theater, and he goes, yeah, I want to push in. I just want to push in for this whole fucking 2-page monologue. And and at least I can look at him and I can go, yeah, all right. Make me look good, bro. Light me well. I'm old. Thank you, Jacob. By the way, you made me look really good.
So much of this movie, and you all have sort of touched on this a little bit, but it's about seeking perfection as a performer, as a creative, and that opening scene of like giving notes and giving feedback is just so deeply triggering.
That was the first scene I filmed. That was the first scene I shot.
Oh, yeah, PTSD after like I feel like
but by the way, we kind of shot it in continuity.
We did, yeah.
So that was one of my first days, and that's I was so grateful because I literally thought, okay, here we go. And he shot like my monologue there, giving notes in like 2 takes. And the one thing, and forgive me, the one thing that I did is he shot the reaction shots, and the one thing I asked him, because, by the way, ridiculously responsible director-producer, he stopped at 10 and a half, 11 hours every day. He never went overtime for that crew. He never beat anybody up. It was really sort of amazing. But we were getting to the end of the day, and I begged him, because it was early on in the shoot. I begged him, and I thought, fuck me, man. If you have to cut around me, at least get a couple of reaction shots. And I said, just fucking do a take of the other fucking actors so you can cut into me if you have to. And he did. Yeah. But after that, it was like, you're happy? Okay, fine, fuck it.
I thoroughly enjoyed that scene because it was, for me, the first time meeting everybody, I think, except you, because we'd already done some rehearsals beforehand at Max's house. It was all very quick. And so it was kind of fun doing that scene as the first way of getting to know everybody. It was the first time I'd met Lou, was him giving me notes as Brent. But it was fun as well because Margaret's character has such... Because I don't have a huge amount of scenes, especially for the first and second act, but her character arc is so drastic from A to B that I have a small amount of time to kind of get from A to B in a way. And so starting in that place where she's just so innocent and so just happy to be there, quite frankly, and so in awe. Honestly, I feel like that wasn't a lot of acting. I was kind of in awe of being there and surrounded by people who really wanted to do a good job, and then also working with Lou was just a fantastic experience. And I'm not just saying that because he's sitting here.
I'll speak to that opening, like that whole like the PTSD of it all and everything. One thing that I found easy in that scene, because you have, you know, this legend Lou here, you know, the character is already trying to, like, you know, please this director and do well, as actors want to do. You know, you see a director with a vision, you really want to, like, you know, honor that, especially if you trust them. So now I have this legend, me, Antwone, this legend here. He's like doing his monologue. For me, I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I really hope like this goes well, and we like,
I
and
hope
he's
he
like,
likes me.
yeah, I hope he likes me. I'm just gonna like just listen and just be present. I know he's gonna appreciate that because he's an actor's actor, and listening is everything. So this is great. So it was fun.
It was really authentic.
Yeah, it was great. I don't know. He made it easy because you're awesome.
He paid us a lot to say this, by the way.
He did. Yeah. Well,
then, what does feedback for you all as actors mean now, and how do you take it?
It's, you gotta, I don't know. I feel like you chuck the ego out of the way, and it's just to shape a story. We're just here to all serve a story, you know? And when you have an opportunity to serve a really good story, you really want to listen to what other people have to say. Your ego's already chucked out the door. Yeah, your ego's already checked at the door when you sign up. Mm-hmm. You know, you're playing another character. So just like, you know, yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think I take notes in a different way because with my brain, I can't turn off the producing side of my brain ever because it is 50-50 for me of what I do. And I have a production company with my wonderful mummy who also is a producer on this. So it was fun to work with her. But we, the way we work is just always in the back of my head. And so for me, when I'm taking notes, and I hope this is helpful to directors I'm working with. If it's not, please tell me. But I try and also think of the logic for them of why they're giving me a note, because it might not just be practical to my character and to the scene. There might be a technical reason behind it. And so it's always helpful for me to understand why they're giving a note so that I can do my best job at taking that note, depending on what their reason behind it is.
The note behind the note.
The note behind the note.
Let me jump in really quick. Who cast this, Max? She was lovely.
It was
Melissa.
I just don't remember the last name.
Amazing.
Wolfmire.
Melissa Wolfmire. She's fantastic. She's fantastic. And I have to say, given a really condensed shooting schedule, you put a lot of people together and you really, really trust that those chemistries are going to work. And I'm looking at you, Rachel, because you and I had so much that if it didn't click, the relationship wouldn't work. Yeah. And we clicked on day one.
Yeah. Can I tell them what I
Please.
said to you earlier?
Sure.
Yeah. My first day of filming, I didn't know any of the filmmakers or actors, so it was all new to me. Although my casting process was very lovely. I think there's indicators along the way that tell you how they're going to work. And I was like, oh, these are good people, like good human beings, and they're smart creatives. With that being said, my first day, most of my scenes with Lou were scheduled for day one. So I was a little nervous.
No pressure.
But, I came prepared, and I remember being in the makeup room, and Lou comes in, and he is singing. He was singing, and he was playful, and he knew every person's name. He knew PAs, our COVID compliance officer, our makeup artist, my name, and that really put me at ease of going, oh, he's excited to be here, and I'm an equal person to him. So that gave me confidence to go, okay, well, I've made choices and I'm going to do them now. And it just brought such comfort, and it was a really valuable lesson in how I want to carry myself onto every set too. So thank you, Lil. But yes, I did also know, yeah. I knew the significance of that, the relationship between Nadine and Brent, and kind of this being a slightly through line, and the madness, there was a little bit of Nadine kind of like guiding the audience a little bit, I think. So I knew that had to be a connector to carry us.
She was the rationale into Brent when Brent like spins out of control. But to your point, is that Max and Melissa and Rick and the powers that be, your mom, put together a group of people that on day one could deliver. I mean, people should not, especially if, those of you who are out there, actors and, writers and directors and whatever, trying to put together, your pieces. You cannot underestimate the value of understanding putting together the pieces before you get to set. Because when we got there on day one, everybody was ready to play, and everybody delivered.
Play.
And yeah. But knowing
Be a
the lines.
professional.
But
which also goes to your point about the notes. I think there's a really lovely place that you can get into as an actor, actress, and I really try to encourage people to see notes as, it's like if you come with a playful spirit and you get a note, it's like, ooh, I want to try that, versus it being a criticism.
Collaboration.
Yeah, or like
it's not a criticism.
Yeah, it's not. It's like, think of it as, I want to season it. We've got some cinnamon. Let's add a little sugar.
A little
sounds
spice.
fun. Yeah, and I think that's a really lovely shift for a performer to take notes as a play, like a reason to play.
One of my favorite moments was, and it's one of my favorite monologues and will be for the entirety of my career, is the thorn in the softest part of my anus monologue, which is fucking brilliant. Oh my God, what a brilliant fucking monologue that is. To his wife, by the way. To his wife.
Like, actually.
Yeah, my wife plays the Vicky.
Jacqueline.
Jacqueline.
Yep.
Prop mouse.
Yeah. And by the way, kids, 2 takes. Two. And the first one, you know what? It's interesting because of Malcolm McDowell and all the other directors that I've ever known and whatever. I sort of based this guy in a real specific, real articulate, word perfect character. You know, I did not want to get a single word of Max's script incorrect. I wanted to get the syntax, the rhythms, everything, because it was so beautifully wrought. It was really gorgeously wrought. And so yes, I would sit there with, you know, a little scotch and some video poker every night in my thing and just run my lines. But that is the first take. I delivered it in, you know, Sir Anthony Hopkins sort of meticulous, word perfect stuff.
Well, and I think that comes down, like you said, to the good writing, when you can tell when the writer's done the work for each character and when someone hasn't. Because when they haven't, you're like, well, these are just words, and it becomes more of kind of a template for you as an actor. But with this script, you could tell that the work had been done to create the characters as they were. And even when I taped for it, like, I remember sending you an email and saying, I kind of see her as British. Are you okay with that? And you're like, yeah, it's Shakespeare. Why not? Let's try it. And that was something that I felt that with the character, and it just kind of came off the page. And that's why you have, it's fun to do stuff like that.
No, absolutely. And so I delivered that first one, you know, like, you know, Rada, like fucking word perfect. And then you literally came to me and going, let's do the Jack version of this. let's do the, you know, the Shining Jack version of this, where he's just a little more loose and he's a little more, you know, aggressive. And I don't, to this day, I cannot tell how you cut whatever.
Well, for sure, when you say the second time you say "thorn in my asshole," and the way you do that face, of course, that's the Jack Nicholson take. It's hilarious. I love the way you do that. And he does. Jake does this little pan on that. It's so funny. All right, there's been a lot of talk about the script in this discussion. I really appreciate that. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, look, you guys, like. Yes, there were characters in there and all that stuff, but you guys had to do like an 8-page. You, Rachel and Lou, you guys had to do an 8 pages basically. So the scenes that they're talking about in day 2, the first time that they actually met each other, they basically had to have a fight. It's all the booth scenes where they go through that whole fight sequence. And like, you gotta think about it. These people have probably been married for like 20 years and been working together, and they just met each other. And I didn't give much direction in that scene. So, like, yes, I do agree with you that there's something there with the lines and everything. I think the preparation you guys did under COVID conditions when we could not rehearse beforehand, I was blown away because I didn't know if we'd be able to get all that material in there. It just didn't seem like it was possible for us to film all that stuff. So I think a huge debt is owed to the actors in this. The reason the characters are what they are is because of the preparation you guys did. And maybe every now and then I'd come in and I'd say something funny to hopefully inspire, like some line reading. But really, you guys crushed it, and it's instructive to, because we're using first takes all the time in this thing. It's instructive to, if you bring that level of preparation into any movie, doesn't matter what the quality of the script is, I do think you can make something really interesting and that feels lived in. So thank you guys for everything.
You know what I'm going to say, and I'm going to, you know, to Jacob's, you know, credit. I've been around a while. I don't know if you know. And we would do a take, 4 pages, whatever the fuck it was, and we, you know, 2-shot, whatever. And I would look at the monitor. I would go and I'd look at the monitor and show me the shot, you know. And these guys were always great about, you know. And I go, fuck yeah, you know. And I'd look at this and I go, okay. If we can play this 4-page scene in a 2-shot that looks as beautiful as he's framed it, fuck it. You don't want to cover it? I'm good. I don't need a goddamn close-up. Whatever, man. The 2-shot plays. We're good. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's that level of confidence when you're doing something like this that is so important. Because, I mean, in television and all the other stuff, they're just like, I got to get my coverage because maybe it's not so great and maybe they're not so good. But you know what? If the two actors in a beautiful frame, I mean, come on, look at Woody Allen, look at Kubrick, look at all these people who have done these things where they're doing these, Soderbergh, they're doing these shots. I mean, one of the things that I loved about Better Call Saul was they would let a 4-page scene roll in a master, and it's like, because it's beautiful. And because everybody's there and you don't have to fix anything, the rhythm is there, the writing is there, the acting is there. It all exists in the moment. And in a weird way, we're making a movie about a theater experience. That's what we replicated.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, we've run out of time.
No.
Wait,
I can talk more.
Can I add? I wanted to say something about the last scene before we wrap up, because it's a really great scene, you guys.
Yes.
I was gonna say is that first of all, I've just been having hysterics outside in the hallway because I think my favorite moment for me as my character in the entire movie is me saying, "We've got a very important show, Nadine," and then stepping over her on the floor. It's one of my favorite moments, if not my favorite ever. It cracks me up every single time. But I feel like the beauty of that last scene was how it was so choreographed, and what you see was the fun we were having with it was the dance of it all, with the police coming in. And if you haven't watched the movie, I'm so sorry to the people watching this. But it was just so beautiful to be able to do, and it goes back to the trust of the other actors and like us having our moment at the end and having to get to that place as a character. It was just so much fun to be able to do.
Well, it's so clear that you worked with a director who loves actors and actors who also love other actors. So this was a tremendous panel. This was a fantastic film. Congrats, guys. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
Thank
go
you so
watch
much.
it on streaming as well so we get more views. Tell everybody about it because it's out everywhere.